Today I learned. Today I learned after Colonel Shaw died in battle, Confederates buried him in a mass grave as an insult for leading black soldiers. Union troops tried to recover his body, but his father sent a letter saying we would not have his body removed from where it lies surrounded by his brave and devoted soldiers. Today I learned that in 1916 there was a proposed amendment to the US Constitution that would put all acts of war to a national vote, and anyone voting yes would have to register as a volunteer for service in the United States Army. Today I learned of Dr. Donald Hopkins. He helped eradicate smallpox, and is on the verge of killing another disease. He's taken guinea worm disease down from 3.5 million cases a year to just 28 cases last year. Today I learned a Japanese company has awarded its non-smoking employees 6 extra vacation days to compensate for the smokers' smoke breaks. Today I learned when the Nazis burned Sigmund Freud's books he said, "What progress we are making. In the Middle Ages they would have burned me. Now, they are content with burning my books." Today I learned that Billy Joel never sells front row seats in order to see the real fans right in front of him. He gives them away to random people in the cheap seats so that front row isn't always just wealthy people. Today I learned Carrie Fisher delivered a cow tongue inside a Tiffany box to a predatory producer who had assaulted her friend. She said, "The next delivery will be something of yours in a much smaller box." Today I learned Dennis Ritchie, who invented the C programming language, co-created the Unix operating system, and is largely regarded as influencing a part of effectively every software system we use on a daily basis, died 1 week after Steve Jobs. Due to this, his death was largely overshadowed and ignored. Today I learned that Willie, a parrot, alerted its owner, Megan Howard, when the toddler she was babysitting began to choke. Megan was in the bathroom. The parrot began screaming "Mama, baby" while flapping its wings as the child turned blue. Megan rushed over and performed the Heimlich, saving the girl's life. Today I learned in the 1880s, the Harvard Observatory director was frustrated with his staff, and would say my Scottish maid could do better. So, he hired his Scottish maid. Williamina Fleming ran a team for decades, classified tens of thousands of stars, and discovered white dwarfs and the Horsehead Nebula. Today I learned of Syndrome K, a fake disease that Italian doctors made up to save Jews who had fled to their hospital seeking protection from the Nazis. Syndrome K patients were quarantined and the Nazis were told that it was a deadly, disfiguring, and highly contagious illness. They saved at least 20 lives. Today I learned after closely investigating Michael Jackson for more than a decade, the FBI found nothing to suggest that Jackson was guilty of child abuse. Today I learned, there was an early 1900s act named Sober Sue, whose draw was She Never Smiled. A theater offered $1,000 to anyone who could make her laugh, attracting big comedians. Crowds came out to watch them try and fail, giving them a free show. Later it came out that Sue suffered from facial paralysis. Today I learned, during the American Revolution, an enslaved man was charged with treason and sentenced to hang. He argued that as a slave, he was not a citizen and could not commit treason against a government to which he owed no allegiance. He was subsequently pardoned. Today I learned, a man created a fake restaurant on TripAdvisor and asked around for good reviews. Eventually, the fake restaurant was the #1 restaurant in London, and was being called up hundreds of times daily for bookings. For a day, the man set up a cafe in his backyard and served frozen food to rave reviews. Today I learned, hundreds of love letters between two gay World War II soldiers were found and are being made into a book. In one of them wrote, "Wouldn't it be wonderful if all our letters could be published in the future in a more enlightened time? Then all the world could see how in love we are." Today I learned, that there was a rumor that Stephen Hawking would deliberately run over the toes of people he didn't like. He denied this rumor by stating it was a malicious rumor and I'll run over anyone who repeats it. Today I learned, Kate Winslet keeps her Oscar in the bathroom so her guests can hold it and make acceptance speeches in the mirror without feeling self-conscious. Today I learned, some farmers in Bangladesh have switched to raising ducks instead of chickens, because during catastrophic floods, ducks float. Today I learned Michael Jordan once tipped a waitress a $5 chip for bringing him a drink. Wayne Gretzky stopped the waitress, removed the $5 chip, grabbed one of the many $100 chips on Jordan's side of the table, and gave it to her. Then he said, "That's how we tip in Las Vegas, Michael." Today I learned, Keanu Reeves often forgoes some of his paychecks so that producers can bring on other notable actors. On The Devil's Advocate, he reduced his salary by a few $1 million so that they could afford Al Pacino, and he did the same thing on The Replacements to be able to work with Gene Hackman. Today I learned, an actor in Nazi Germany lost his job for being Jewish. He went to the Alps, grew a beard, and dyed all his hair by bathing in diluted hydrogen. He returned to the stage claiming to be a self-taught peasant actor and was praised by the Nazis as proof of the superiority of Aryan blood. Today I learned, Lawrence Durod named himself professionally as Mr. T because he hated how his father, uncle, and brother who returned from Vietnam, were disrespectfully called boy by whites. He wanted the first word from everybody's mouth to be Mr. when speaking to him. Today I learned that a depressed Manchester teen used several fake online personas to convince his best friend to murder him, and after surviving the attack, he became the first person in UK history to be charged with inciting their own murder. Today I learned that the Cuban Missile Crisis began when a CIA operative noticed soccer fields on a Cuban military base. Cubans play baseball, Russians play soccer. Today I learned that Pink Floyd's The Wall is implied to be an endless loop. The final song, Outside the Wall, ends with the words "Isn't this where?" and the album begins with the words, "We came in?" with a continuation of the melody of the last song, hinting at the cyclical nature of Water's theme. Today I learned, when Mr. Rogers heard his limo driver was going to be waiting outside while Rogers was in a meeting, he asked the driver to come in. On the way back they passed the driver's home and Rogers asked if they could stop and meet his family. Rogers kept in touch with the driver for the rest of his life. Today I learned, in 2006, a man in Portland, Oregon hired a hitman to kill his 51-year-old wife. His wife ended up killing the hitman with her bare hands. When Susan Kuhnhausen had her hands on his neck she asked him, "Tell me WHO sent you here and I will call you a fucking ambulance." Today I learned, planned obsolescence is illegal in France. It is a crime to intentionally shorten the lifespan of a product with the aim of making customers replace it. In early 2018, French authorities used this law to investigate reports that Apple deliberately slowed down older iPhones via software updates. Today I learned, when Nintendo had a fall in revenue from the less successful Wii U, its CEO cut his pay in half for 5 months rather than blame workers. Today I learned that Eminem watched his daughter, Haley, get crowned homecoming queen from an empty classroom in the school because he didn't want to take the attention away from her. Today I learned, Carrie Fisher told her fans, "No matter how I go, I want it reported that I drowned in moonlight, strangled by my own bra." Today I learned, an 86-year-old wrote an upbeat review for her local paper about a new Olive Garden. She was mercilessly mocked by the internet. Anthony Bourdain thought she had a valuable POV on small-town dining. So he published a book of her reviews. Today I learned, a Harvard study found that hiring one highly productive toxic worker does more damage to a company's bottom line than employing several less productive, but more cooperative, workers. Today I learned, apes don't ask questions. While apes can learn sign language and communicate using it, they have never attempted to learn new knowledge by asking humans or other apes. They don't seem to realize that other entities can know things they don't. It's a concept that separates mankind from apes. Today I learned that in the 1950s, donut shops were some of the first food businesses commonly open late at night. They became hotspots for police working the night shift since it gave them a place to grab a snack, fill out paperwork, or even just take a break. This is why donuts became associated with cops. Today I learned, A man falsely imprisoned for 10 years spent most of his time at the library to study law and prove his innocence, and then became a lawyer to help free other people who have been falsely convicted. Today I learned that Yao Ming's conservation campaigns has led to a 50% drop in shark fin soup consumption in China. He is now working on poaching as well. Today I learned that after Beethoven went deaf, he found he could affix a metal rod to his piano and bite down on it while he played, enabling him to hear perfectly through vibrations in his jawbone. The process is called bone conduction. Today I learned, Gary Gygax's wife was convinced he was having an affair, so she followed him to a dimly lit basement and burst into the room only to find him and his friends hunched over hand-drawn maps. Gary would go on to invent the role-playing game Dungeons and Dragons. Today I learned that Angelina Jolie once tried to hire a hitman to kill her, because she felt that a murder would be easier on her family than her committing suicide. The would-be hitman talked her out of it by asking her to wait a month.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more.